I've shared with you guys before some of the things that I've dealt with anxiety before. It's because I am a woman in the workplace. And
really?
Yeah. It all stems from the fact that I don't want to be weak.
Surprise, everyone. You were not expecting us, but here we are.
Ready or not.
Hey,
here we are.
We have for you just a little fun nugget, a surprise bonus for Joyce Meyer's Talk It Out podcast, where Joyce teaches the Word of God and then we talk about all the fun things around it. Well, my friends, Aaron, Jay, and I last week talked with another friend, Jamie Hall, and Jamie had a lot to say about being a woman in the workplace. And as we were all talking, we ended up with more actually than we could actually get in the podcast last week.
And so I think we could have kept going too.
Yeah, we definitely could have.
Talking and talking.
Yeah, the producers had to literally kind of like stop us because we just kept going.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was one story in particular and one part that we did not want to leave on the cutting room floor. So we have this little bonus tidbit, a little present from us to you that will help you to, I hope, be inspired to be who you are in the workplace. Yep. And to allow God to use those gifts that he has put in you and not to try to be different or to be someone else. So before we play this clip, just a real quick recap. We were talking, first of all, that women, we are all working. So whether you're working in the home, out of the home, in the home, and out of the home, wherever you're working, you're working. So work
Sound like almost like a song. In the home, out of the home, in the home, and out of the home. Good job, G.
Thank you.
G.
So we were talking about just encouraging all of us in knowing that God supports us in what we're doing, and especially when we can be who he created us to be, that we can be very successful. And there are many, many things that are difficult that we know people are facing in the workplaces. And whether it has to do with not being respected as a woman leader, I've felt that before. I've been told by a man before, I will not be led by a woman. That did not go well. So
Ginger did not like that.
no, that is not going to fly in my world. And Jay, you've been told some really tough stuff by being a woman and being a woman of color in the workplace, and that's been very difficult. And Aaron, you talked about some of the big changes that you had in your life, being already a leader and then coming in as a mother and seeing how perspectives changed a little bit, and the sacrifices that you had to make that we all make as women making choices.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a recap. What other highlights you guys can think of, or things that you think are just important that you want to make sure that we throw in there right now?
Yeah, like seriously, it's not an easy task. I don't want to say task, but challenge. It's a challenge to balance, being a woman and being in the workforce. And, especially when you've had those negative experiences.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed even since we've been talking about it is that I've allowed some of the times that the past testimonies or experiences that I've had to cause me to approach my new, situations almost like defensively. And so I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting, not to alter this is the big thing that God has been revealing to me. My resolve is the same. My message is the same. My message is consistent. Like, I want my message to always be consistent, my work ethic and my goals to always be consistent, but allow my approach to be flexible. And without
I like that,
without not being, not being less of a woman or anything. There are things that I know that because I've had some negative things happen to me in the workplace, I sometimes greet my experience the same way I'm greeted with some negativity. Like people have, like, as a Black woman, some people automatically put a ceiling over my head over what they think I can do. And that a woman and someone of color, and so I get a lot of this, you're really well spoken. Or
like it's a surprise.
Yeah. Or like, man, you're so balanced. It's what? Like, what does that mean? Like, is it because why do people do this? So I sometimes now greet those experiences, like in professional, even on my first day, sometimes I'm ready. and sometimes I need to just disarm myself. And so just in this, studying this and talking through this, learning how to be authentically me, but allowing my approach to be more flexible.
That's great.
So that I don't come to a situation ready to be like, don't talk to me like that because I'm a Black woman. I mean, even if it's true, I just don't want to approach everything like that.
I think that's a really great point. And, the whole girl boss thing, okay, I'm glad that it's made a difference for women. I really am. But I believe you need to be the best boss you can be and forget that you're a girl boss.
Yeah.
Be the best that you can be because God has put amazing things in you that he has not put in anybody else that workplace needs and that whatever you're doing, it needs your input. It needs your creative and your talent and your intellect behind it. And so, forget about what everybody else is saying. Study, know your stuff, and go in with confidence because God has put you there for a reason.
Yeah.
After we recorded, I realized, I've shared with you guys before, some of the things that I've dealt with anxiety before. It's because I am a woman in the workplace. And
really?
Yeah. It all stems from the fact that I don't want to be weak. And so I get insecure about failing at work because I will look weaker than probably my male counterparts or just other people at work. So it causes me to feel anxious. And it's the only area I feel it in. So to me, I need to let that go and don't put so much pressure on myself. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves as women to be able to show that I can handle the world. So I'm going to not do that.
Yeah. Well, let's do this because that's a new thing that you've brought up.
Yeah.
Erin.
So that was just, I mean, wow, what a special nugget to drop on the special
Yeah.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you.
Because we've been talking about this anxiety piece since the beginning of Talk It Out.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
the fact that you actually...
Look what I figured out, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's listen to this little nugget, the story that Jamie shared with us. And then we're going to come back. We're going to talk more about it. And we're going to talk about what Erin just said. So don't go away. Here's Jamie Hall.
So, we all, I think, as we reflect on, how can we be a better leader? Oftentimes that question comes through extreme conflict, right? And I do not get along with this person. Why do I not get along with this person? And just over my career, I've sort of identified there are a few personality types that I love. Diane Kramer. If you know Diane Kramer, she goes, "Oh, honey, they're your sandpaper." They just kind of rub you the wrong way, rub you raw. It hurts a little bit, but girl, after that relationship is over, you are smooth. I love that analogy. It's like the people that are our sandpaper, and I get along with pretty much everyone, I think, right? I mean, I don't know a stranger. And so if I have a conflict with someone, it just weirds me out because I'm like, I mean, and I'm also a people pleaser. I have a little bit of approval addiction. Yes, it's a great book. You should read it. And so I've learned a lot about, okay, where am I going awry and just wanting to gain this person's approval versus, okay, we got to figure out a way to work together. And one of those personality types is people that are pessimistic because I'm an optimist. And I'm like, I've learned they're equally annoyed by me as I am by them, right? And how can we create a conversation in which we come together with different perspectives and that we're okay with those different perspectives instead of being frustrated or annoyed? And the other thing is, I mean, this is Talk It Out, right? So we can just get right to it. Older men and older men with a bit of an ego, we just don't always mesh that well. And I think it's because I'm naturally confident. And so when it matches and I'm young and I look younger than I am. And so when there's an older man and I'm there saying we should do this, there's no, we shouldn't. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. And that it creates conflict. And I was processing that through with one of my peers and saying, can you help me figure out how can I be approaching this demographic differently? Because I feel like I'm turning this demographic off in some way. And, part of that has cost me responsibilities, expanded roles in the past. And I don't want to keep my career being at a detriment, right? I'm in the legal industry. there's a lot of older men in the legal industry with egos. Like, these are my clients now, right? I got to figure out how to make it work. And the advice I got was, well, you come into the room with your dresses and your red heels, and you just kind of show up in the space. And, I think that kind of turns men off sometimes. And maybe if you had to downplay that femininity, because that's sort of like sending the wrong message, right? Like, if you just try to I don't know, don't become masculine, but just try to fit in, right? It's that's the message I got, was just try to fit in. And this peer was very well intending, right? And a different generation female from me. And so I get where that was coming from. Also, she's been a part of a very traditional conservative organization run by, prominently men. And I actually was like taking that to heart and thinking, okay, maybe that's what I should do, And I was wearing my red heels one day, and I had this revelation that I was like, no, that is my inauthentic self, and it's not about my ability to be successful as a leader should not be dependent upon my footwear.
Quite opposite, actually.
I mean, but when you say it out loud, doesn't it sound ridiculous? Yes. But, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe I should, consider that. I'm like, no, a man's future in leadership is not dependent upon his footwear. If it was, they would have been fired years ago. Sorry, most of them, a lot of them. I don't want to cast, gender. Men, sorry, you have some good footwear sometimes. But, it's like my abilities to lead are not dependent upon my femininity. I need to embrace who I am and use that. Yeah. There's so much, though, that God created in us as women for a purpose, and to use that femininity, use the way that we were wired to do his work and to do it more effectively. And I just felt so clearly God saying to me, I made you to stand out, not to fit in. Mm-hmm. And he says that about each of us. Mm-hmm. He says that about each of us because he made us each unique. Mm-hmm. So he created us to stand out, not to fit in. So, I'm still rocking those red heels.
So I listened to what Jamie said this time in an entirely different light. Mm-hmm. I love what she said about being authentic and using all of those beautiful feminine gifts that God put in us to be able to be the best that we possibly can in the workplace. Yeah. Because that means that God has given us the ability to multitask. Yeah. He's given us an emotional quality to be able to judge what other people are feeling at times and to help empathize. And he's given us so many wonderful things, that nurturing way of being able to lead people in a way that lifts them up without tearing other people down to do that. Yeah. There are so many things there that we have to be true to. But this time I also listened to it in light of what Erin just said, that little bomb that you dropped on us. Yeah. And I think there's so much in what she just said for you as well, because you are such a great leader, and there are so many skills and talents that God has put in you that we all love and embrace, and that he is using in his kingdom and in Joyce Meyer Ministries to further what's happening. So I'm wondering what you heard when you were listening. Was there anything as you were listening that you thought, maybe I need to embrace this instead of being worried about it or trying to squelch it?
Yeah, I think listening to it just now, and then also just sort of when I had that revelation last week, that it's the process that I go through, like, before coming to work. Like, once I'm here, I'm good to go because I feel like I'm in my zone a little bit. But it's what I do in my mind before I get here. And I am so afraid I'm going to miss something because my kids will need something or whatever.
Right, yeah.
So the balancing of it all. And so I see that as a fault. Like, I'm not good enough to be a really great leader and a really good mom. Something's going to give. So therefore, I'm not up to standard compared to everybody else. Even though most of the people we work with have families. But, in my mind, I'm the only one. So I'm going to drop it all. But in light of that, and what you just said, maybe that's my greatest strength. Because I can multitask. And if something comes up and I need to be home because I got a sick kid and I have to miss a really important meeting, where are my priorities anyways? And I just think we as women can empathize with people better. That's not a blanket statement, but I just think that is a strength that we have. And so because of things that I view as weaknesses, maybe those really are my greatest strengths. And I don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Do you think that any of it is attached to, like, since you said it's like in your commute? Mm-hmm. Do you think there's any like guilt maybe for leaving home?
Probably. We weren't supposed to cry. This is just like a recap for the surprise episode. Probably because it started when I had Caden and when I went back to work. And so I never wanted to be a work from home mom or a mom who works out of the house. I knew I wanted to go back into the office because that's where I thrive. But leaving did cause me a lot of guilt because so many friends were staying home. And then, so there's the guilt of that. But I also don't want to, I would feel guilty if I missed something at work because I have a kid who needs something. So it's just this constant like pull of my, I don't know, heart and my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all started after I had Caden.
There's so much guilt in what you're talking about, in what so many of us as women face. I remember that feeling also of, what should I do? You know, I feel called to this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I feel called to this. Mm-hmm. Nothing's more important than my family.
Absolutely.
But I know that God has put something in me that I feel he's calling me to do. Mm-hmm. And so it's very hard to balance everything without feeling some guilt. And then there's, unfortunately, guilt that you, rightfully so or not, feel from other women. And, you know, when my girls were little, I actually went through a really, really tough time where several of my friends got very negative about what I was doing and just frankly said I was a bad mother because I wasn't at home full time with my kids. And at that time, you know, I kind of had a foot in both worlds. So I was working part-time and I was at home part-time. And so I didn't fit in anywhere. You know, I had moms at church who were mad because I wasn't at home and actually said at that time that I was a bad mother. Yeah. And I had friends who were in the workplace all the time. And I felt like, you know, I wasn't doing what they thought I should do either. And I just got to the point where it was like, God, you tell me what to do and let me block everything else out because I can't live with this guilt and I can't hear the other voices anymore. It's so hard.
It is.
Super hard. I remember when you all were talking, I remember when I first had Taylor, I went right back to work. Like I had a C-section, but then I was like, heal up, sister. And then I had to go back to the doctor because I did too much and hurt myself. And so I had to go back to the doctor. But as soon as I healed up, I went because I got this job at a marketing agency that I was really, really excited about. And I remember going to that agency and I still wanted to pump because one of the things that everybody made me feel like really guilty about was like if I was going to breastfeed or if I wasn't, like, and how are you going to do that if you're working? And I remember being in the little bathroom at this marketing agency, like pumping, you know,
Aaron used to call it going to church.
Yeah, I got to go to church. I'll be back in 30 minutes.
So I would have to go I'd be in the stool, like, that sound effect.
Oh
That's how I felt, like a cow. Like a cow. With my little suit on and like in the bathroom, like just pumping. And I remember sitting in meetings and being engorged and then like it's leaking through my suits. I remember that too.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I was like, gotta go now. I just remember all of that. I remember being jealous of my mom because she was watching Taylor at the beginning and some of the milestones that were happening. So I just remember all of that. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Like you aren't alone with feeling like that. I'm sure a lot of people listening have felt that guilt of it, which gives you anxiety because you're like, I know I'm supposed to be doing this, but I feel like I'm dropping the ball on something else.
I think that's exactly what it is because I feel like it's a tension of, am I a mom or am I a worker? Do I go to work? Which one am I? And it's like I have to choose. And I want both because I know I'm called to be a mom, but I know I'm called to my job. Yeah. So it's that tension of like, which one do I choose? If I have to choose, what do I do? And
yeah. And we all make sacrifices.
Right?
Yeah.
We all make sacrifices no matter what we choose. And you may have something very firm in your mind. This is right. You know, this is what everyone should do, or at the very least, this is what I needed to do. And what we need to do, honestly, is come right back to the center of asking God what He wants for me at this time, because it may change as well. You may be in one situation for a while and for that season, and then it may change to something else. And one of the hardest things is to hear God's voice when He's talking through that and not hear everybody else's.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to ask of any of us.
Yeah, and one other thing that I wanted to throw in there, I know this is just a nugget, but this is a topic, okay? But seriously, when
It's a good nugget.
when Jamie was talking about her red heels, of course I was thinking like, yeah, red heel revolution, but I hate heels. Like
Me too. I'd be like a tennis
I'd
shoe
be like,
revolution.
yeah, red sneaker. Like, I don't like heels. They hurt my feet. So, but I instantly thought, we talk about the fact that, I'm black. Okay. So one of the things, I don't wear heels, right? But one thing that always makes, like, that I've thought about toning down in different work environments is my hair.
No.
It's I always worry about my hair and how much I change it. Like black ladies, a lot of all my sisters out there, like we like to change our hair, and a lot of white people like to touch it, but especially when I change it. But that is a part that's
one of the things I look most forward to.
Me too.
Like
Is to seeing exactly.
and then I tend to like change my Bitmoji based off of my hair.
You do.
I'm trying to stay really connected to it. But in a professional setting, it does, like, that's one of the things that's like toned down like that. But that's a part of my femininity that I still like to express that. So, and then people are like, is that your real hair today? Or don't ask us that.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It's real to me. Okay. But that's one of the things when I was like, well, what do I have that's my red heel, that I try to tone down. And my hair is a big deal for me, even like, and how my hair is typically helps me figure out how I'm going to function, or like, like if it's a power hairdo, if it's a spicy hairdo, like what is it? And so I change my hair quite often. So I just thought of that when she talked about the red heels.
That's fun.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
Don't squelch. I like that word because I always say squash, but it's squelch. You said that earlier.
You can squash or squelch.
But squelch,
Either squishy word works.
Just don't do either of them.
Squelching sounded a little more like, So don't squelch who you are. Be your authentic self.
Yeah.
And if that means changing your hair or wearing your heels or wearing your sneakers, be who God has called you to be.
Or be a mom who stays home with your children and love it.
Yes.
Or be a mom who God calls you into the workplace and you're still a great mom at home and you do the work thing, and you're going to hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're going to make sacrifices. But if you are totally seeking God, God promises that when you seek Him, you will find Him and He will speak to you.
Absolutely.
And He will give you what you need for that time to do what He asks you to do. So that's where
so
our
good.
confidence has to lay.
I think that's something that all of us young moms need to hear, is that follow God's peace. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If it looks different than all the other moms that you're around, you go where God tells you to go. And that is all that matters. And I can say that I've had more peace because I've done that. And I think this tension I feel keeps me close to God. And it's not something I want. And it's something I continually give to Him. But also it makes me rely on Him.
Yeah.
So that's not all bad.
And also, if you're a lady out there if you're a single lady and you want to start that business, start it. You know, if you want to weld. Yeah. And if you're an empty nester and want to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Like, be who God, like, we're all in this together, and we're all seeking to live our fullest lives, the potential that God has set for us. So don't live in fear. Don't say like, well, that's a guy job or that's this. Like, just go out and do it.
Yeah.
Like, be confident in
God
it.
told you to do.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this little extra tidbit. And now for an added bonus, we have an invitation.
Hey, that was cute.
We have an
We're so
invitation for you, something super fun coming up that it will not be right unless you're part of it. And this is the Love Life Girls Night In with Joyce. It is a live interactive streaming event. So you can be at home with your red shoes on or off. We don't care. And you can have your hair however you want it.
Yes.
And you're going to take place in this really great time where Joyce is going to be teaching on kicking fear out of your life. It's going to have Carrie Job and Cody Carnes with some really sweet, intimate worship moments that are going to be so important. And we're going to do a live Talk It Out video podcast, and you can be part of it by sending us your questions and your comments as we go. So it's going to be so much fun. The date is September 11th at 7 p.m., and you can register to be part of it. It's really inexpensive, and all proceeds go to Project Girl. So you can register online, and where you want to go to register is joycemeyer.org/nightin. joycemeyer.org/nightin. And we really, really hope you'll join us. We're all going to be there. We need you there with us.
Yeah, register now.
Register right now.
I'm buying new slippers.
Yeah. And the suggested donation is only $10. So if you, it's just a fun night with us and with Joyce and learning how to kick fear out of the, and we need that, especially with this topic.
Yes,
this is a
great time to
workplace.
do that.
Yes, we do.
And this month is Girls Month, Project Girl Month. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Together.
Let's do it together.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our little extra bonus surprise for you. We will be talking again next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.